I went from being overweight, chubby, tired, and feeling trapped in the constant loop of losing and gaining weight to dropping 20 pounds and keeping it off for over 2 years now, feeling light, energized, and like this is the person I'm meant to be. And in this video, I'm sharing with you how did I lose the weight and got skinny. This is literally me at my highest weight in my early 20s. The weight loss is not actually the hard thing. The hard thing is to not regain weight and to actually make weight loss sustainable. The lifestyle that I had at this weight is completely different to the lifestyle that I have now. The reason why I actually gained so much weight was because I started my first diet. I wanted to be petite because I restricted so much and I lost a lot of weight. I got really tiny, but obviously that was not sustainable, right? I had like almost an eating disorder. My body then went into completely the opposite and really increased its hunger hormones because it was literally starving, and I created that food obsession. When you starve your body, you become food obsessed. There's an actual experiment that was done called the Minnesota starving experiment. You can look it up. I put the link down below so you can read about it. But that shows when you put your body into starvation, how obsessive you become around food. And then what happens is your natural ability to just be in tune with your body's fullness and hunger signals, you kind of lose that. My problem and why I just kept yo-yo dieting and wasn't really able to completely lose the weight and always regaining is because I just kept doing these stupid diets. If you cannot see yourself doing what you're doing for the rest of your life, don't do it. Don't go on quick fix diets. Don't do keto if you don't want to do keto for the rest of your life. Don't cut out things that you love just to lose the weight, okay? Make it sustainable. Don't choose something that you cannot see yourself doing for the rest of your life. So what I then started to do is create an 80-20 approach. It's just like 80% you focus on whole foods, protein, nutritious food, low processed foods, and then 20% it's just fun foods, it's pleasure food. It can be ultra processed, it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's foods that you enjoy, that you like, but you're not having them all the time. Because the more you restrict yourself and you actually stop eating things that you like, that will actually cause binges, to obsess around the food. That will cause you to feel guilt and shame when you have the food. And we don't need those low vibe emotions, okay? That's not gonna help us. And here's the biggest mindset shift that I can literally give you is this really changed everything for me because I was always just focused on the number on the scale. I was always focused on losing the weight, getting down to my goal weight, and I was not really concerned with how I'm doing it. I wasn't really concerned with the habits that I will need to have in order to even stay that weight. We don't think about this. We just think about losing, and then we'll just figure it out when we're there. No, you have to figure it out beforehand. You need to make a decision of who you want to be at that goal weight and what will be your habits in order to sustain that weight. Think about the habits that your skinny self needs to have in order to be that person. And then you need to start being that person now. Stop focusing on the weight loss and focusing on doing the habits. I don't care what people say in the wellness space, like, oh, calories don't matter.
No, and Dr. Kenberry will say it first thing, we're not going to look at your calorie intake. We don't care about your calories. Calories don't matter.
I know calories matter. The quality of calories matters as well in order to make you feel a certain way and what it does in your body metabolically. You still need to be in a calorie deficit. There is a thing called the Twinkie diet.
Kansas State University professor Mark Haub spent 10 weeks eating Twinkies, brownies, zebra cakes, and corn pops. He consumed no more, now this is important, he consumed no more than 1,800 calories a day. Haub did this to prove that in weight loss, what matters most is the total calories in the food you're eating, not the nutritional value.
Is that healthy? No, of course not. But what it showed is that it doesn't really matter what you eat. You just need to be in a calorie deficit. If you're currently not losing weight and maybe you're even gaining weight, that means that you're not in a calorie deficit. If you use apps like MyFitnessPal, and they will just tell you, oh, eat 1200 calories. For most people, that is too low, okay? Unless you're a petite girl, this is not a sustainable weight loss tactic, because you will not be able to sustain 1200 calories. And if you are able to sustain it, it will be really miserable. And also what will happen is your metabolism will actually slow down. That means is that you will then probably have to eat 1200 calories for the rest of your life, and you don't really want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to make weight loss something that is just like you don't even notice. Like that is just the best way to lose weight. Is first of all, don't focus on it, focus on your habits, but then also make it something that doesn't feel like ass. And the way it doesn't feel like ass is if you just have a moderate calorie deficit, okay? Don't go more than 500 calories from your maintenance. You don't need to count calories. All I'm saying is you need to be in a deficit. Whatever you're eating now and you're not losing weight means you're eating probably at maintenance, and if you're gaining weight, you're eating over maintenance, okay? So you just need to look at where can you create a deficit. Maybe it's a snack that you stop eating, or maybe it is smaller portions, maybe it is cutting out alcohol. Whatever it is, you need to choose something that feels good to you, and then you're going to be in a calorie deficit. That's important. Otherwise, you're not going to lose weight. Don't use exercise for weight loss. Okay, this was a huge mistake that I made. I was always compensating my eating with exercise. I was always using it for burning calories. That is not a good strategy. It will create a really unhealthy relationship with exercise. You will not be able to sustain that. What if you have a surgery? What if you're ill? What if you hurt yourself or whatever, right? Like, it's not a sustainable tactic, because then you will not be able to exercise. And then what happens is you put on weight again, okay? So it's really important that you really focus on how you eat. Your eating habits are way more important than using exercise for weight loss. Exercise is super important, and you really want to exercise a few times a week. You want to have daily movement in some sort of way. It's really important for your general health, like for your metabolic health. It's really important for your mental health, but it's not a good strategy for weight loss. Don't just drink water when you're thirsty. When you're thirsty, that's already the first sign that you're dehydrated, okay? So you actually want to just drink water throughout the day. Really important also to understand that when you feel hungry and you feel like, oh, I just ate like maybe an hour ago and I already feel like a little bit peckish, it could actually be thirst. So your body sometimes misjudges whether it's thirsty or hungry. Have some water and then see if you're still hungry or not. Portion control. That is what you need to focus on. Volume eating is basically where you can eat a lot, but it's low calorie. High nutrients, low calorie. So big salads, but not like super fatty dressings. Big stir fries with a lot of veg, with a lot of fiber. Add lean protein to it. Make sure that you feel satisfied, that it really fills you up, but it is low in calorie. I had no idea about like how food actually makes me feel. And ever since I became a licensed nutritionist, when I really started to learn about nutrition properly, I understood, wow, it is so important. How you eat really matters in terms of also your sleep quality, like how much energy you have throughout the day, your mental health, everything is connected, and everything really starts at how you nourish your body. Make sure you prioritize fiber and protein in every meal. If you start to prioritize that, weight loss will feel so easy, because you're not going to be hungry. You're not gonna have these horrible cravings. You don't feel like snacking all the time. Prioritize a lot of vegetables. Fruit. Protein is so important. Most of us don't get enough protein, especially women. When I started to amp up my protein, 100 to 120 grams, it helps you to feel energized, to keep your blood sugar stable, so you don't have these mood swings, you don't have this sugar cravings. So what I would recommend, you don't have to do it, but that's something that really helped me, is to track my food for a month. And I don't want you to get obsessed with something with it around it. It's not that important that it needs to be perfect. It's more for your own awareness how much you actually eat. When you start to track, you will see the protein and fiber content as well, and it's so enlightening. It's so helpful to understand wow, I really undereat fiber, I really undereat protein. No wonder I'm constantly peckish. No wonder I want to have all this sugar all the time. Fasting can be something that is really helpful for a lot of people, and if this is something that resonates with you and feels easy with you, keep doing it. For me, it didn't feel easy. So if you're someone that doesn't really want to fast, right, but feels like, oh, I have to, that's never a good way to start. I really love breakfast, so I don't want to skip breakfast. It's something called compensatory eating. That means that maybe you skip lunch or you skip breakfast, and then you will make up for it later on in meals. So if you're, for example, someone who is a real nighttime time eater who's like snacking a lot at night and who has really issues with controlling your eating at night, that could be because you underate throughout the day and then you make up for it later on. That happened to me when I had a phase where I skipped lunch, or I just had like a juice for lunch. That was not actually something that was enough for me. You want to make sure that you're not completely starved for your next meal. Being a calorie deficit doesn't mean that you undereat for your meals. That's why fiber and protein is so important, because that will help you to feel satiated. What you want to do is you want to start a circadian fast. That means you just have a break from your last meal in the evening to your first meal in the morning for a minimum of 12 hours. And then maybe stretch it to 13 or 14 hours sometimes. That was something that I had to really work on, and that was like your eating habits, your eating behavior. The person that you want to be, that person will have different habits, that will have different eating behavior. Otherwise you will not be able to sustain that weight and that body. So you need to make sure that you understand what are your eating behaviors that led you to have extra weight. That may be because you are in a binge restrict cycle. That means that you restrict yourself and then you cannot keep up the restriction and then you binge. And then the binging will consume way too many calories and the restriction will then not be able to make up for that anymore, okay? That's why it's really important that you stop restricting, because the restriction is what is causing the binging and the overeating. What I really struggled with was emotional overeating, habitual overeating, and things like FOMO, like fear of missing out eating. Oh, like now is my only opportunity. When I was at parties or on holiday or whatever, I overate because I was like, oh, this is my only opportunity to eat now. This comes from a diet mindset, right? That the food will go away, you won't be able to have this anymore. You just need to understand what are the reasons why you overeat, and then you need to work on those. You need to become aware of your overeating behavior. If you don't address your overeating behavior, you will then be at that weight, but you still will have the urges to overeat. Chewing your food properly, not like being a super fast eater. When I eat food, I need to sit down and eat it. I'm not gonna like just go to the cupboard and picking out food and like snack. I need to like put something in a bowl or on a plate and like sit down and eat it and enjoy it. Not eating in front of the telly was a huge one. We might have a snack in front of the telly, that's fine, but the actual meal we will eat at the table. I've ate healthy and I'm like, oh, why do I not lose weight? And it's because I was overeating on nuts, on nut butter, on avocado. I was using too much olive oil. Healthy fats are super important, but we don't need a lot of it to get the health benefits. A tiny portion of nuts has already like 100 calories. And I was just eating like probably 2 or 3 portions of that. Nut butter, like peanut butter tahini, has a lot of calories. You maybe use lower calorie options like powdered peanut butter. And then 2 mindset hacks that really help me. You need to make decisions from your future self. Your future self who has the weight or the body or like is at that goal stage, but also the future self an hour from now, right? If you think about overeating or eating too much, like how will this make you feel an hour from now? And then the second thing is you really want to make decisions from that place of like, how will that make me feel? And when you make decisions from I want to eat and take care of myself because I want to feel my best. I want to be in like a high vibration, a high frequency. I want to like be energized. I want to just feel my best. If you start making decisions from that place, that will change everything for you because you're not going to feel restricted anymore. Restriction comes from the thought of I can't, I shouldn't, I'm not allowed to. But if you turn this around and you be like, I choose not to, this is not aligned with my best self. This is not aligned with my goal. This is not who I want to be, and this is not going to make me feel good. Make that mindset shift of I can't have this to I choose not to right now. And finally, remember there is a difference between attainable weight, maintainable weight. Can probably be a certain weight or have a certain body, but is this going to be sustainable and maintainable for you? And you want to be honest with yourself what you are willing to give up, because in order to be this different body, you need to give up certain things. Your goal demands something from you. Your goal demands a sacrifice. Are you willing to do the sacrifice? I'm not willing to never eat bread or sugar or never have alcohol anymore. That's just not the lifestyle lifestyle I want. That's why 80-20 for me is a perfect approach. It will help me to feel my best because I mainly eat high nutritious food, but it will also help me to mentally feel my best, right? To nourish my soul. So you just really wanna own your best version of yourself. What is the best version of yourself that you can become, that makes you feel empowered, that makes you feel you're on your highest vibration, but that also feels maintainable. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe.